Yo ho ho, Don Mafia. Welcome to yet another edition of the Don Mafia Report. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, why was the first 10 seconds of this video zooming into my smirking face? Well, in case you guys are new here, in case any of you are new here, only the OG Don Mafia members remember exactly how I framed my videos when I started making Bills content last year. You would see titles like the one that you just read, but let me say that I've gotten a bit more conservative. Back in the day, would say things such as the Buffalo Bills are about to murder the New York Jets. The Buffalo Bills are about to destroy the New York Jets. Today, I decided to be a little more respectful, and I just ended up saying that the Buffalo Bills are going to easily beat the New York Jets. I feel like as I grow as a YouTuber, I feel like I just need to gain at least an ounce of respect going into each and every single season. But to be honest with you, I'll probably drop some negative type of synonyms as the season goes along. Guys, I am so happy. You guys know that these videos were my bread and butter last year, where I would do my best to hype Bills fans the up for the matchup that is coming through the respective weeks. And guys, right after so many questions of whether or not that this NFL season was going to happen, it is happening. And luckily, the Bills just so happen to be blessed with not only a way better roster, but we're also blessed with facing the worst team in the entire NFL during week one. Now, I do understand that some Jets fans watch my channel, and guys, I love you guys. I still think that you guys are a part of the Don Mafia. I still welcome you to the Don Mafia, but I mean, you need to understand this is competition, baby. This is AFC East rivalry, and we're diving into it super damn hard. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna really be going through a lot of the different matchups, what exactly the Bills run game is going to look like against the Jets run defense, what the Bills passing game is gonna look like against the Jets secondary, and then switch the entire thing. But basically, I'm just going to convince all of you that the Buffalo Bills are indeed going to frankly beat the out of the New York Jets on Sunday. Now, yeah, guys, like I said, I think that this is the perfect game for the Bills to start off the 2020 season. Number one, because there was no preseason games, and so the OTAs were non-existent, and the Bills really didn't have a lot of time to sort of mesh together, and what not better to play the New York Jets during week one. Now, starting off, why I think that the Buffalo Bills are absolutely going to demolish the Jets on week one, I really want to start off with the Bills' run game, right? Last year, the Buffalo Bills finished 8th in the league for total yards on the ground per game. And we absolutely dominated. And a lot of that had to do with then rookie Devin Singletary, and of course, the veteran in Frank Gore. But, what a lot of people don't understand is that Devin Singletary, while he ended up racking over 775 yards on the ground, you need to understand that the kid really only played half of the season. Number one, because he was injured for a couple of games, and Frank Gore dominated the majority of the carries the first half of the season before we transferred over to Devin as our primetime running back. And so during his time with the Bills so far, Dudeman averaged 5.1 yards per carry, which is amongst one of the best in the entire league. And so the Bills' rush attack in general racked up 128.4 yards per game. So it was clear, guys, Dan Mitchell loves to run the damn ball. And I think that that's exactly what is going to happen. Now, I think with the addition of Zach Moss, we really don't know what the rookie is going to bring to the table because he hasn't taken an NFL snap thus far. But I really think that he is going to make a name for himself during week one. Now, as far as the Jets' run-stopping capabilities on defense, now there's very few good things about the New York Jets as far as from a talent perspective. But if I had to give them anything, they were amongst the best in the league last year for stopping the run. Now, granted, they did end up losing out on CJ Mosley. Granted, they didn't even have him last year. They just had him for the first 3 quarters of that first game until he got injured and missed the rest of the season. But it's going to be a test to see whether or not that the Bills are going to be able to run against this defensive line. They still have Quentin Williams, who is an amazing defensive tackle. And I think that if there's anything good to say about the Jets, it would be their defensive line. However, what a lot of people don't understand is I ended up looking at the stats from last year in week 1, and Devin Singletary still racked up 70 yards against the New York Jets, even when they did have their full defense, where they still had Jamal Adams, they still had CJ Mosley, and their defense was actually something to be concerned about. If Devin can legitimately rattle off 70 yards, not only as a rookie running back, and against a full stacked out Jets defense, imagine what he's going to do when the Jets defense is just a shell of what they used to be. I still want to see the Buffalo Bills run the damn ball, but say that doesn't work, and say that the Jets really do end up turning it on, especially against that run game, we're just going to have to pass the ball. And so say that we decide to pass the ball, ladies and gentlemen, I will not be upset with it whatsoever. Now, don't get me wrong, the Buffalo Bills were among one of the worst in the league for total passing yards last year. I'm pretty sure we finished 26th. And I mean, granted, the only receivers that were worth a damn being mentioned was indeed John Brown and Cole Beasley. John Brown being one of the most slept-on receivers in the entire league, racking up over 1,000 yards and then 6 touchdowns on top of that. And Cole Beasley being wildly effective as well in the slot. But I mean, we all understand that our offensive playbook has taken a 360, and all we had to do was add on Stephon Diggs. Last year, while Stephon Diggs was in Minnesota, and so he racked up 63 receptions for a total of 1,130 yards and 6 touchdowns, very much so like John Brown. Now, you have no idea. I've been saying this in videos for the past month and a half. So the addition of Stephon Diggs is about to catapult the Buffalo Bills' overall production in the air. Say that Josh Allen was able to take those next steps in his mechanics and improve on his accuracy. Nothing pisses me off more, dude. I've been watching other teams' YouTubers for the past 2 or 3 weeks hanging on to that narrative. Dude, Josh Allen's not accurate. He's not accurate. He's not accurate. And they never want to talk about the drops it had last year. But let me step off my soapbox real fast and just get back to the reason why I think that our pass game is about to absolutely blow up. You look at Stephon Diggs, 1,130 yards is impressive, but 63 targets in Minnesota. Now, don't get me wrong. He was also paired with Adam Thielen, who was, in my opinion, Kirk Cousins' favorite target. Now that you have Stephon Diggs in the Buffalo Bills, who is going to be the, for sure, #1 receiver, look for these targets to go up this year. And, not to mention, during week 1, the Buffalo Bills are going up against the Jets secondary. If I was a Jets fan, I would be legitimately shitting my pants knowing that they need to try and cover Stephon Diggs and John Brown. They just ended up letting the best safety in football walk away, so he's completely gone. And I mean, then you also need to consider the fact that when news breaks that the second team offense for the New York Jets beats the first team defense 27-0 in training camp, I would be nervous as shit, say that I was a Jets fan. In my opinion, I think that the Buffalo Bills receivers and overall pass game is going to be a nightmare for this poor team going into it. So as far as the Bills offensive standpoint goes, now we need to transition to exactly should we be worried at all about the New York Jets approach on offense. Spoiler alert, no. But we still need to dive into this. And so realistically, y'all, I feel so bad for Sam Darnold. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that he is an amazing quarterback, but if this guy thinks that he's going to be able to pass against the Buffalo Bills secondary, he is absolutely out of his mind. Last year, we all know that the Buffalo Bills were among the best in the entire league for pass defense, finishing out 3rd in the entire league. And so the Bills only allowed a 78.8 QBR against opposing quarterbacks last year. And once you account for the fact that, dude, like the Jets legitimately had already had perhaps the worst wide receiving core in the entire NFL, but then during training camp, they couldn't stay healthy. I'm pretty sure like half of their squad is in body bags at this point, and the only notable name is Jamison Crowder, and I'm not even sure if he's going to be able to play on week 1. Then, of course, you put in with a Denzel Mims, who's a rookie. He's never seen an NFL snap in his entire life. I would be really concerned, say that I was the offensive coordinator for the New York Jets, being able to say, all right, who are we going to match up against Trey White? Who are we going to match up against Levi Wallace or Josh Norman? It doesn't matter what receiver they put out there that's on the roster. They're going to have a very difficult time. The only way that the Jets have a chance to be somewhat in the game is they need to get Le'Veon Bell working. Now, this is really interesting because Le'Veon Bell was coming off of his worst season in his entire career last year. In my opinion, I think once you take a year off from the NFL, you're never going to be the same. So I think that it's really on him. But then it also didn't help the fact that the Jets had probably one of the worst offensive lines in the entire league, and I really didn't see that improving much this offseason. I get it. You guys ended up getting Mekhi Becton, but he's a rookie. For all we know, he's going to be trash once he ends up going into the NFL. And just one notable addition is really not going to make any much of a difference, in my opinion. Now, say that Le'Veon Bell can work with a shitty offensive line and say that he can find some type of space and actually be able to find room to run, he might have a pretty good chance going up against the Buffalo Bills run defense. That was the one and only thing that we struggled with, stopping the run. I personally think that that was skewed because the majority of the negative run stopping stats that the Bills racked up was against that game against the Philadelphia Eagles, where Jordan Howard absolutely just ran all over us, and it just so happened to be the same time when Matt Milano was out. So, I mean, if Le'Veon Bell can really pound the rock and be able to make some type of opportunity for Sam Darnold, that I think that they might be able to drive it down the field maybe once or twice. But I mean, guys, it is not looking good for the New York Jets this year, but it is looking good for the Buffalo Bills, baby. I'm almost willing to bet you my life savings that the Buffalo Bills are about to be 1-0 by the time 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time hits next Sunday. And so as far as a final score prediction, I'm having the Buffalo Bills go 35-10. I have a feeling that the Bills are going to march out in that stadium and just shove it down Adam Gase's throat and just make it happen from there. And once again, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the Dom Mafia Report. And before I let you go, always remember, let's go Buffalo.